Over the past decade, more and more salon professionals have left traditional salons to open their own private suites. The promise sounds appealing, right? Independence, flexibility, the ability to run your own business. But what does that move actually look like behind the scenes? In today's episodes, we're talking with two salon professionals who made that transition themselves to get an honest look at what it really takes to succeed when you're running a salon of one. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, the podcast that helps salon owners and salon professionals grow their business, boost their brand, and stay inspired. From salon marketing and social media to leadership and growth, we uncover the strategies and stories that move the industry forward. If you love learning, growing, and are serious about leveling up your salon business and brand, you've just found your new go-to podcast. Welcome back to the Salon Scoop, everyone. In one of the biggest shifts we've seen in the salon industry over the past several years is the rise of suite rental and independent studios. More salon professionals are choosing to leave traditional salon environments and operate their own small independent businesses. For some professionals, this path offers incredible opportunity, but it also comes with responsibilities that many people don't fully see before making the move. When you go independent, you're no longer just a stylist or an esthetician or makeup artist. You become the marketer, the receptionist, the inventory manager, the customer service department, and the business owner all at once. So today, we're sitting down with two professionals who have made that transition themselves to talk honestly about the experience. In this conversation, we're going to explore what the transition from employee to independent operator actually looked like for them, the biggest challenges that surprised them when running their own business, and the marketing strategies that they rely on today to stand out and keep their chairs full. Our goal with this episode isn't to tell anyone that one path is better than another. There are many ways to build a successful career in this industry. But if you're considering going independent, you're you're already running your own suite, this conversation should absolutely give you a clearer picture of what it really takes to succeed. So let's delve in and meet our incredible guests today. Tessa and Tatiana, you have both built very successful yet very different salon suite businesses. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show to share your experiences with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start just by letting everybody get to know you a bit better, get a background. So maybe could each of you briefly tell us about your career path, how long you worked in a different salon environment before deciding to go independent?
Sure. So my name is Tatiana Masone. I am a registered nurse and also a nurse practitioner and aesthetic injector here. I'm in the Port Jeff My Salon Suites. I have been a registered nurse since I'm 23 years old. I'm almost 37, so almost 14 years. And I've been a nurse practitioner since 2020 during the peak of COVID. So I've been a nurse practitioner for 6 years. And I made the transition. I opened my business June 2024. And I started renting my suite in August of 2024 and then started renting my second suite in June of 2025.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good
Yes.
stuff.
So
Very.
go ahead. I'm Tessa, and I started doing hair in May 7th, 2007. I was 19 years old. I went to a York County School of Technology for high school. So I actually did my whole schooling during high school and then graduated in '07 and went and got my license and been cosmetologist licensed since then. I actually worked in one salon ever in my whole entire life, and I love that salon. It was a corporate salon. I grew in that salon. I thought I was going to grow old with that baby. Um, but this opportunity presented itself, and I'm like, do I want to put myself in a box or do I want to grow a little bit and try something different? So, this is my salon suite in York, Pennsylvania, is actually right around the corner from I always say my home salon. Um, and so I was like, I could always go back, right? That walk-in salons are always there. So, and my clients didn't have to go far. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. And like I said, worst case scenario, I could always go back. But I'm so glad I made the leap of faith, and it's just working out great. It's amazing. I was a manager the last 3 years at that corporate salon. So I feel like I would got that learning on how to run a business with their money. I always say I got to play around with their money, and I did pretty great for them. So coming over here, I kind of had my hands in on how to be able to run a business and how to be a stylist behind the chair as well. So it's been great.
And how long ago did you open your own suite?
Um, November 14th, 2022. So almost 3 years.
Nice.
Right? Three
Okay.
years? Is it almost three? I'll be losing track of
And
time.
Tessa, tell us, what was it that originally attracted you to the idea of renting your own suite? If you were so happy, in the salon, what even had that idea pop into your head instead of just staying in that traditional salon environment?
So I just need to change really. But I was seeing how much money I was making for my company and I wasn't receiving that money back. I was like, Dad, I make this company a lot of money. Like I could be doing this on myself. What would that look like for me? I was really nervous. And I think the only reason why I never started my own business before was because of how do you handle taxes? How do you balance the money? How do you throw yourself in when you're used to clocking in and clocking out and somebody else is responsible for whatever else happens? So um it just I just wanted to change. So I was like, let's try it.
Very cool. Tatiana, how about yourself? What was it that kind of triggered the idea to even want to go independent in the first place?
Yeah, so my whole life I've worked in a hospital. Like I said, I've been a registered nurse since I'm 23 years old. So I was always caring for others in a hospital setting, very regimented, working a 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. shift. I was a labor and delivery nurse for 4 years. I was an operating room nurse for about the same amount of time. And then when I transitioned and became a nurse practitioner, I was working in a physician's office. So I was always following someone else's schedule, always being told what to do, when to do it, when to go to the bathroom. Plus, just like Tessa said, having this entire workload, working for somebody else. And I think the same thing, like I'm making these people so much money. I'm putting so much work in. I'm caring for my patients. And I was going through a real transition period in my life. I actually left my ex-husband and I had a 2-year-old son, and it was not feasible. I could not wake up at 4 a.m. anymore, drive to work at 5 a.m., work 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., sit in 2 hours of traffic home as a single mom, be gone 14, 15 hours a day. I thought to myself, I need to open my own business. And my brother, he's actually an entrepreneur himself. My little brother, he's a professional bodybuilder and he owns a gym and some clothing companies. And he was like, Tatiana, why don't you do Botox and open your own business? This is my brother who's 30, 30 something years old. He probably doesn't know much about Botox, but maybe heard of someone that did it. I said, Botox? I said, okay, I'll look into it. So I took a course. I started continuously taking courses, educating myself, doing in-person hands-on trainings. And I found out about the My Salon suites and I said, why don't I try it? I basically just opened my business and went right into a suite. It was the scariest thing that I ever did in my life. Again, because being a single mom, going through a divorce, really didn't have much money, nowhere to start. But you learn as you go, and you don't have to know everything at once to open your business.
I think that's important. And I want to get into the whole transition part of kind of going on your own. So, Tatiana, let's start from there. How did you choose which suite to rent? I assume that there were several options available. What was important to you that helped you make your decision as to where specifically to rent from?
Yeah, so I actually was born and raised here in Port Jeff. And like I said, I'm in the Port Jefferson My Salon Suites. I went to high school 1 minute down the road. My roots are here. My family's here. Everybody that I know, friends, colleagues, old coworkers, friends, people from high school. So I know a lot of people here. And like I said, this is right in the heart of where I grew up. So I feel like it was a no-brainer for me. I used to go to the LA Fitness that's right next door. I shop at the Uncle Giuseppe's that's right next door. This is a very busy shopping center. There's a lot of foot traffic. And this was actually the first place that I toured. I came and I met with the owner. He was a very, very nice gentleman, explained everything to me, showed me a couple of options and what I could turn the space into. And it was very scary. I was very apprehensive and hesitant at first, again, because I was just opening my business. I really didn't have too much clientele. But again, I thought to myself, I'm in my hometown. I know everyone here. I just have to get into marketing. And that's what I did. And, thank goodness, I remember the days I had absolutely no clients, no patients on my schedule. And now I can't even get through all the text messages on my phone in one day. So it was just kind of perseverance and not giving up, and then continuously every single day showing up.
Nice. Tessa, how about yourself? How did you go about choosing the specific location? Because there's many options. There's many different suite options available typically. So, how did you go about making that decision?
So, like I said earlier, the My Salon Suites was literally right around the corner from my home salon. This was the first one in our county. So nobody knew what My Salon Suites were. When they came up, some of the other salons like, oh, those My Salon Suites, oh, they're going to be a ruin. They're not. But what's funny is they were being developed. So I actually did a virtual tour. um this is what the salons are going to look like. This is the opportunities you can do in here. And like they even kind of picked my brain, like, what does your clientele look like? Like they asked me, am I ready? Do I have enough clientele to stay in a business on my own? And I was like, yes. I loved everything like the salon featured. And you know what's funny is they were like, but we gave the last one away today. I'm thinking like, you guys gave me a whole virtual walkthrough and I can't even get through. So I was a little bummed. But like a month or so later, they were like, we'll keep you on the list though. Again, they weren't developed yet. So I guess people were dropping off and like not putting down their deposit. And they hit me up like, all right, well, we have one suite available. Would you like it? I was like, yes, I will. It was the cheapest one in the building, which I was okay with. It was in the back corner. It was a little smaller one. And that business, it started there. And actually a year later we had to sign a lease and I moved up front to a window suite. So I felt like where I got started at is where I needed to be. I always believe what's for you is for you. So I needed to be back there and just really regroup. My whole being, my whole everything I know about salon life was in with other people, being dictated by somebody else. So sitting in the back, just kind of like lower rent, I'm quiet. And then when I came up to the front, it's like hustle and bustle, like loud movement. I'm like at the front door, making sure everybody's being greeted, making sure everybody's taken care of because they don't know how to use the kiosk. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, right here in this front suite with the window shining or sun shining through the window. So really, I didn't get to choose, but felt like God gave me what I needed. And the suite was perfect where it started. And now I'm in a bigger suite and by the window. So I love it.
Nice. Let's look back a little bit to the first, let's say the first kind of 6 months ish of each of your journeys. I want to hear from both of you on this, and I want to understand like what were some of the most challenging parts of that first 6 months? Maybe the things that you didn't realize about running your own space until you actually were in it, and that maybe you wish you had known before you had started. Tessa, why don't you start us?
I think for me really was juggling being everything. The receptionist, the stylist, the inventory person, the doing it all. I'm trying to really balance my work life and honestly my personal life at this point. Like I had two children. I'm taking them back and forth from, sports, school and everything like that. And then also managing a business. When you run your own business, it is you 24/7. As soon as you open your eyes, even when your eyes are closed, when your business is running, and as soon as you have to make sure you're getting back to people in a timely manner where they feel respected and still want to come see you. Just juggling your personal life. But eventually you do start to figure it out and it just all starts to go smoothly. Once you start get that system in, it starts to run smoothly for you. So I think just trying to balance out what roles to play in what moment in behind the chair or being in your salon suite or running your business.
Tatiana, how about for you? What were some of the challenges in those first 6 months that you didn't realize that you wish you had known before you started?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Tessa, and I want to just say the growth. Again, being in my salon suite, the traffic here, there's 44 suites in the space that I'm at, and I'm the only injector here actually. So I just feel like I get a lot of referrals from, my hair girls and my nail girls. So it's fantastic. So with that growth, I feel like, just like Tessa said, it's answering people, it's doing absolutely everything. I was up until 2 in the morning answering DMs and messages, and this is something that I never could have expected. Like I said, when I first came here, when I first signed the lease in 2024, there were days where I had nobody on my schedule. So again, now having everything yourself, I have two assistants that help me periodically through the week. They're here 3 or 4 days a week. But it's doing everything. It's the social media because people want to see you. They want to see your face. They want to see what kind of person you are. They want to have some kind of trust in you before they even come in. So it's staying up to date on social media, getting back to your clients, making sure your space is clean because it's just you. There's no cleaning person inside your space. So it's making sure everything's presentable. When it's snowing outside and all the ice, not the ice, I'm sorry, the ice salt comes in, you're down on your knees cleaning that up too in the middle of injecting or doing a hair. So it's just, you are the business, like you're the brand, you're the business. And it's not something that I ever dealt with before. Again, working in a hospital, I was always told what to do, when to do it, what I'm doing for work, what I'm going on my lunch break. And now it's, this is the most sitting I've done all day. I've been here since 8 a.m. and I'm going to be here until 8:30 p.m. tonight. So again, I just feel like it's such a blessing. Again, just like Tessa said, like, thank goodness people want to come in and see us. And when people ask me, like, how do you balance it all? Because again, I have a 5-year-old son. I say, I don't. I'm so tired. I can't even tell you. It's just when I have time to do this, I'm answering DMs. When I have time to do this, I'm cleaning. When I have time to do this, I'm prepping for the next patient or client. So it's a whirlwind, really, but it's such a blessing. And I think that's what just keeps me going. Like, I'm just so thankful to be where I'm at. And I definitely have to work on the work life balance. But again, it's something that I've never done before. So I just handle it kind of how it comes.
Well, it's clear that it's a very busy lifestyle for each of you. And I'll just reiterate how grateful we are that you were able to take a little bit of a break from your schedules today to be on the episode to share with us some of these insights. So let's keep it going. I'm curious to know if either of you, in the first, whatever, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, at sometime in the beginning stages, did you ever have a moment where you were like, OMG, I don't, like, this is way more than I could got myself into, and I'm not sure if this is the right thing for me, and you maybe had doubts as to whether you were doing the right thing or not? And if one of you had that moment, I'd love to hear a little bit about it and what made you stick around.
Yeah, so I'll just jump right into it. I want to say opening my own business and opening my suite is the best thing that I've ever done for myself. I would rather, no matter how stressful it gets, because there's always going to be times you're not going to make everyone happy. I think that's a hard pill to swallow, is that you could be the juiciest peach on the tree and there's always going to be someone that doesn't like peaches, kind of thing. But I would rather be doing what I'm doing here, being independent and working for myself, than again waking up at 4 in the morning and working for somebody, punching in and punching out for 12 and a half hours. And that's what I remind myself when I have a difficult day or a difficult situation. I think it's really great to make, acquaintances, friends in the same industry as you. So if a problem or an issue, God forbid, does arise, you have, someone to bounce ideas off of. Hey, what would you do in this situation? Can you help me here? What do you kind of think? But again, even on my most difficult days, or the days like today when I was up until 2 in the morning and I'm so tired, I'm like, I would rather be sitting here talking to you guys on the podcast than, again, being told when I could go to the bathroom. So that's really what I remind myself when things get hard.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you cannot go to the bathroom because we're going to continue this conversation. So, Tessa, did you ever?
You
Tessa,
know,
did you ever have a moment? Did you ever have a moment
I,
where you were like, I'm not
I
sure
want
if
to
I made the right
say
decision?
nope, nope, did not have that moment at all. Honestly, I was so prepared for this. I have the experience, and so doing hair, I've been doing literally all my life. I remember my mom would play cards with her girlfriends, and I was the oldest, and I would do their hair at like 7 years old. Like, hair's always been a thing for me. Working on my own, is, I don't want to say it was in. Oh, it's a little off track, but on my senior yearbook, you had to write something about yourself. And I said, I'm going to own a salon. But I only wrote that because I thought I was supposed to write something like, wow, she's going to own a salon. Never did I think that. But when I did open up my salon, I'm like, check me out. I am running my own salon. And I was ready for it every single day. When I drop my kids off at school, I'm always like, thank you, Lord. I am so blessed. I can take my kids to school, make some breakfast, and go to work. And even when it's hard, what isn't hard? Going working a 9 to 5 is hard too. Everything's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But honestly, I would want to do this more than anything else. Like she said earlier, I don't have anybody breathing down my back telling me to take the next client, or are the towels folded, or dust them shelves since you're sitting around. Like I'll do it when I'm ready, because obviously this is my space, but like I don't have anybody barking down me or telling me go hand out whatever because we're not busy, So it's a blessing. I have not had that moment where I'm like, man, this is hard. Why did I do this? Really, I'm like, yes, about time I did this. So I love it. I haven't had any complaints, honestly. It's been nothing but a blessing.
Nice. Quick kind of follow up, Tessa. What other
Yeah.
than the actual performing services with your clients, hair, what would you say takes the most time for you in running your salon suite?
I would say probably just staying up with clients, making sure you're responding. I have online, you can write me online, you can email me, which I've been trying to get rid of this email thing. I don't know how they keep finding my email, but they email me, they write me on Facebook, Instagram. I have my own phone number, they're texting me. So I got to make sure I'm like on all five. I'm like, did I respond to Lucy? Wait, Lucy did this one. Where'd you hit me up, girl? Because I can't find you. Really just keeping up with my clients, making sure I get back to everybody where nobody feels ignored, or I like not picking you. I don't want to do your hair. No, I do. Believe me. I just don't remember where you DM me at. So really just staying up with the clients and making sure they feel included in my ride, this journey with me, because I couldn't do it without them. And I try to stress that to them enough, that I can't be in business without them. So I like to really just scratch their backs like they scratch mine, just really make sure I am being responsive to them all the time. And sometimes I can be draining, just trying to keep up with them and making sure everybody's good. Definitely when I'm like, sometimes I can't be on 100. So, we're only human. So if I'm having an off day, I still can't have it. I got to make sure I'm checking on somebody and just getting back to them. So that would probably be the most challenging part of my job.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see Tatiana nodding there as well. Tatiana, I'm going to give you a different question. I'm going to ask you, for somebody who's considering to make this move into their own suite, what are a few things that they might need to prepare for financially and or operationally, right, before leaving their sort of traditional salon situation?
Yeah, sure. So I would say the biggest thing is you don't need to get everything at one time. So, for example, when I first opened my first suite in August of 2024, I had a $350 injector's chair from Wayfair. It was not electronic, it didn't go up and down, it kind of stayed in one position, and that was that. And I told myself, as I grow and as I am bringing in revenue, I could get more, I guess, a better chair for injecting. And that's exactly what I did. So by November, I had bought the chair that I wanted to have. It goes up, it goes down. Actually, it's right behind me here. If you can see it, covered in plastic, so it stays nice and clean. I can lay it flat if I'm doing a lip filler. I could bring the feet up. I could bring the head back. So you definitely don't need everything at once. It's really just starting and taking it from there. The same thing with supplies. It's not realistic for you to jump right in, be able to offer every service at one time, or even with hair. You're not going to be able to order all your hair color at one time. But as long as you start with something, and then again, you have reliable clients that trust you, respect you, are happy with your services, and are coming back, you're going to be able to bring in more products and eventually offer more services. So again, it's just kind of leaping in. And it was very scary. I remember touring with Scott, the owner here, and he said to me, I'm sure you have at least one Botox client a week, right? And at this point, like I might have, because I just opened 2 months prior, and now it's like I have, a wait list. So again, it's not everything at one time. If you're consistent and your mind is set that you're going to do this, and there's no way that you're not going to make this happen and do it, you're going to get there. Like I said, little by little, it's adding things. You might not have the best equipment to start. It's one day at a time.
I like that. That's a great message. A lot of people prevent themselves from moving forward because they think that they have to have everything figured out and everything perfect before they actually make that jump or make that move. And I think that's a good reminder, Tatiana, that you know what, sometimes you just take that first step and
Yeah.
you know what, things will evolve and it'll help you take the second step, and it's a constant evolution as we go. Nice. All right, let's get into the marketing aspect of the business, because when you're on your own working independently, you can no longer rely on you know a salon's brand or you know the salon's marketing to just bring in clients overall. You're responsible for that all yourself. And Tessa, I know you said that you know were able to bring a lot of your pre-existing clients with you because you were so close. What would you say are some of the areas of marketing that have been the most important for you to grow and or maintain your client base?
I would say definitely word of mouth, but I know not everybody has clients to start off. So what I'd like to suggest to people is Facebook, Instagram. Don't be afraid. I actually say this a lot. Don't ever be afraid to be annoying to post your work. Post your work every single day. If you don't get not one like, who cares? But eventually, that one person that actually seen your post, they may not book with you, but somebody else like, oh yeah, I think Tessa does hair. I've seen her keep posting stuff. Go to her. Always post no matter what. Do not be afraid of not getting likes. I promise you, I still post to this day and will get no likes, but my book is booked. Like you are waiting months to get in with me. So be that annoying person and book or post every single day. Even if it is just a tip in whatever you do. Like for me, I would probably put like hair tips up. Like, hey, did you know to use a wide tooth comb instead of a brush when your hair is wet? Like, and to drop mic, walk away. Just continue to post and do not be afraid of not getting any interactions at all because eventually people will get the point. I also like to tell people, at least my area, we have like Facebook Marketplace. I feel like a lot of people have that. Post on there that you're looking for new clients. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just say, hey, this is what I do. Tell everybody and just keep doing it. Be annoying. That's what I always say. Be annoying. Tell everybody what you do. Who cares if you don't get any likes? So just posting. Be annoying.
Yeah. Well, and if you're not getting any likes, you're not being annoying. I mean, I think people are scared. I think
Right.
people are scared of being annoying. So they're like, oh, if I post
Yeah.
too much, you know, if I post too much, then people are going to get annoyed and it's going to look negative.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, oh, there's not a lot of people seeing it anyways, so you're not really annoying them. It's us
Mm-hmm.
what's going on, you know, in our heads that we think
Yeah.
things are going to happen, but you're not actually annoying people. So do the behaviors that maybe you believe would be annoying because they're actually not being received as
Mm-hmm.
annoying on the other end. I think that's important. Tatiana, how about
Mm-hmm.
yourself in terms of, you know, marketing initiatives that have been most important for you to build your clientele? You talked about how you kind of went from almost nothing when you started to now being, you know, a full-on waiting list. So you've obviously done lots of work. What are the most important or some marketing initiatives that maybe Tessa hasn't mentioned that have been useful for you?
Yeah, so I think the biggest aspect of marketing that has helped me is my Google page, my Google landing page. And again, when I came to my salon suite, Scott, the owner, he told me, you should really make a Google page. You know, it's great. People will search you, Botox, lip filler, chemical peels, and you'll come up. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'll get around to it. I got to set up my room and whatnot. So I came here in August 2024. September of 2024, I made my Google page, and I'm almost at 300 5-star Google reviews. So if you are in the area and you Google Botox, lip filler, anything, I'm literally first up there. So that has been the utmost, the best aspect of marketing. Well, I want to say kind of a tie with Instagram because I am very active on Instagram also. I post reels. I When I see my Instagram page, I think to myself, if I was a consumer or if I was, you know, a potential client looking for Botox or lip filler, what would I want to see? I would want to see somebody's face. I would want to see the person talking about the treatment, about what's going to happen beforehand, what's going to happen after. I want to see before and after pictures. I don't want to just see some generic, you know, picture made off Canva. Hey, come buy lip filler. I want to see the work. I want to see the injectors, you know, before and after pictures. I want to see client testimonials. So every time I get a review on Google, I post it to my Instagram page and I circle the amount of reviews. And all of my reviews are unsolicited. I will never ask or pay somebody for a review. I just, with my marketing, I use Gloss Genius. So when I check people out, they get an automated email and it says like, "Hey, it was so nice to see you today. If you were happy with your service, I'd love, if you just checked out my Google page." And I've just gotten, like I said, organic reviews, which has organically grown my business in that way. I also have a billboard. It's actually right outside the My Salon Suites on Route 112. So I have a huge 40-foot billboard with my face on it. So people drive down Route 112 and exactly, and it's my face. Oh wait, actually, let me just grab this. This is they sent me a small copy of it. This is when I had blonde hair in the summer.
Oh,
Nice.
that's amazing. I love that for you.
Thank you. So this is actually right outside of the My Salon Suites. So people call me. So it's just, I think it's like repetition, right? Because if you Google lip filler, you'll pop up. And then if you go on my Instagram, you'll see everything. And then you're driving right outside My Salon Suites and you see the billboard. I also started marketing on ShopRite shopping carts, the same picture. So my face is on every shopping cart. So when people are shopping for groceries, they see my face and then they'll think like, "Oh, now I see this billboard and now I Googled this and it's the same
It's
person."
God.
Check them
It's
out.
God. I see it twice. Look,
Yeah,
there it's meant to be.
divine intervention. So I think it's just repetition. And just like Tessa said, the first thing I do when I open my eyes, well, I check on my son, and then I just click share on an Instagram post. And again,
Right.
just if it's something quick, something I posted yesterday, just so again, it's repetition, it's people seeing it again, and getting familiar with you and your brand and your services, and then wanting to book.
Amazing. A lot of great insights shared there. So, people, if you didn't pick up everything, go back and listen to kind of those two answers. There's a lot of really important things there for you because you have to be able to market yourself. And I like, Tatiana, how you mentioned that your suite owner, I guess like the landlord, was actually the original instigator to suggest that. I think it's really important that you are in a location where the landlord is not just collecting the check from you, but is actually providing you with business advice, maybe some resources, some guidance. That's a really important, I would say, and valuable resource to have. So when you're considering where to go, that might be something that you consider as well. All right, let's talk about maybe some just best practices overall. Tessa, that you might share some with someone who's currently a suite renter in order to just have a little bit more business success. What are some best practices that you've learned, or just actually one each? So one best practice that you've learned that you would want to share with an existing suite renter.
um, I would say tracking your sales, seeing what you're bringing in each month so you can try to beat that the next month. And then eventually you'll be like, what did I do last year to beat the last year? Just tracking, seeing what you could do, whether upselling, figuring out what works for you. You may be short, like whatever your goal is, try to work an extra day. Just really dedicating yourself and trying to hit goals. Because yes, it's easy to run your business and just show up. But what are we working for? Or what are we working towards? Yeah, we want to make money, but do you have an ultimate goal? Like, are you setting yourself up to be able to continue to bring in the revenue? So I would say just tracking your sales, tracking your goals, and trying to keep hitting them. And if you're not hitting them, that's okay. But figure out, all right, what could I have done? Could I have worked an extra day? Could I have worked an extra few hours? What could I have done better tomorrow or next week or next month to go ahead and hit those goals to continue to grow in our business, is what I would say.
Yeah, because knowing that you didn't reach your goal is way better than just not even knowing at all what's going on with
Knowing
your
what a
business.
goal is, exactly.
Exactly, right. And finding out when you do your accounting, after a year that you're like really down, or you're not able to, meet your bills. So, great point. Tatiana, what's something else, a different sort of best practice that you would share with somebody who's an existing suite owner for them to have success?
Yeah, so I would say definitely for me, it's transparency and trust between you and your clients or you and your patients. So I remember when I was first looking for Botox and lip filler, I went to get it done, and the person that I went to did not tell me the price beforehand. And I was just a single mom going through a divorce, and I thought it was going to be like $300. And I went to check out, and it was $2,000. So I'm extremely transparent with everybody. I will sit with them, I'll draw it up on a paper, I'll say, "Hey, this is exactly what we're doing. We're doing 40 units of Botox. We're doing a syringe of cheek filler. This is your total. You want to do more? You want to do less?" And we'll have that conversation before I inject anything. So this way at the end, it's not a surprise. And I think that's really how I just start building my trust, is that with my patients or clients, it is looking at them how I would want to be treated if I was here sitting in my chair. So I would want to know exactly what we're doing, the price of what we're doing. I think that really is the most important thing. And that's really, I think, how I've grown so much, is because people will come in and they'll say, like, my sister-in-law came to you, she told me how you were, I trust you, and do whatever you think I should have done. And I'll have people come in and say that. So that's how I am with everyone. That's how I started out. And again, because that's how I would want to be treated, as a consumer.
That's great. That's great advice. It mirrors what you said earlier about your social media. You were like, you try to think about what the actual person who's scrolling on your Instagram, what they want to see, how they would want to get the information. And then you try to provide that, as opposed to thinking, me as a service provider, what do I want to post about? What do I like to post about? It's not about that. It's about, what does the consumer want, what are they looking for, and how can I best deliver that? So great, both online and in terms of the actual customer experience. It's great that you're focusing on that. I know a lot of people who have gone down the path of going into a suite on their own, and they have not been successful. They haven't made it. You two are wonderful examples of people that can be extremely successful, on their own, but not everybody has that mindset. Maybe not everybody follows through. Who knows what the reasons are why they don't succeed? But do you think that some individuals maybe jump into suite rental before they're ready? Or maybe what are some signs that somebody should ask themselves know whether this is the right thing for them or not? Tessa, let's start with you on that.
I would say I feel like I've seen it, and I think it's you need to ask yourself, do you have the clientele? And I guess this can't be it for everyone, because Tatiana didn't have clientele right away, and look at her, she's blooming. But I feel like with the people that I see come in and don't stay, it's because they don't have the clientele, and they don't have the dedication. They're not sitting there putting themselves out there and really being dedicated to their salon. They just think, oh, now I run a business. I don't have to do anything but wait for people to come to me. It's just be dedicated and really show up for yourself, and try to have clientele is what I would say. But again, in Tatiana's situation, hers is great, but I think I always say, if you can at least do one client to pay the rent, then you're good. At least have one client to pay the rent, and then also just make sure you're dedicating the time into the suites or into your business.
Makes sense. Tatiana, how about on your end? What should people be thinking about? How does somebody know whether this is right for them? Whether they should, wait more?
So I don't really know about seeing if it's right for you, because I'm a big believer that anybody could do this, be an entrepreneur and open a business and open a suite if they wanted to. I think it's starting, and then you have to be willing to put in the work, just like Tessa said. If you're not posting on social media, if you stay in your suite all day and don't leave, and you're not marketing yourself. I mean, everywhere I go, when I'm out to dinner and the waiter comes over, I say to them, "Hey, do you like Botox and filler?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here's my card. If you need anything, I'm in Port Jeff next to Uncle Giuseppe's." You just have to not really care what people think. Like, you just have to. I get messages and people say, like, "How are you so comfortable in front of the camera?" And I said, "Well, I'm really not fully comfortable in front of the camera, but if I don't do this, I'm not going to have clients. So you just have to start, and you just have to do it. I feel like anybody can be an entrepreneur. You just have to put the work in. You just have to. Honestly, it's a 24-hour job. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I get messages at 2 in the morning, at 6 in the morning. And again, like, when I get these messages, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's 2 in the morning, but then I'm like, this is what I prayed for. This is what I prayed for people to be wanting to text me. Cause I remember there were days when there was no text on this phone, so you have to be all in. And it's like, it's 0 to 100. You have to just want to put in the work. I don't think there's a right time. I don't think there's like a right person. You just have to want to do it and work very hard.
Well, that in and of itself, and both of you kind of come back to you have to be dedicated. You have to be ready to put the work in.
Mhm.
And I believe that some people think that it's going to be easier than it is. And they're like, oh, you know what? I just want the flexibility and freedom to do this on my own. And both of you throughout this episode have really shared a lot of the insights of like what it really takes. What are some of the challenges? What are the things that you've encountered along your journeys? And hopefully that's providing some insights to people, because not everybody is prepared to put in that work. And that's why, we don't have everybody being successful in this world. And that's the same, not just in the salon suites, it's in anything. You have your top performers in all avenues, all industries, and it's those people are the ones that are putting in the work. They're the ones that are not taking no for an answer. They're the ones that are putting themselves out there, that are just a little bit more dedicated, let's say. So you have to kind of ask yourself, how much of that hunger, how much of that desire do you really have, and how far are you prepared to go? Because I do agree, everybody has the ability, right, to be successful. It's whether they have the mental fortitude to keep themselves going down that path towards success. All right, we're going to wrap up this conversation with one key piece of advice. It's something that we do in most of our episodes to sort of finalize with one piece of advice. And this is not going to be for a salon suite renter. It can be for anybody in our industry, right? If you could give one piece of advice to a service provider today, regardless of what kind of salon situation they're in, but one piece of advice that would allow them to have more success in our industry, what would that be? Let's start with you, Tatiana.
I'm just going to say believe in yourself. Starting out in anything with any new journey, you might have no supporters. And it's just, if you believe that you're a winner and you're going to make something work, you will make it work. It's just positive self-talk. Even when things get hard, telling yourself you can do this. You're here for a reason. You're in this situation for a reason. It's just always staying positive and just believing in yourself.
Tessa?
What she said is great, but also I would say, to make sure we're staying successful in this business, just build great relationships with people, whether it be not maybe just your clients, but also other people around you, other people in the industry. They don't have to do hair, they don't have to do nails, they don't have to do the same thing as you. But just being a really good person, being connected with people can really get you far and give you insights on your business. So don't be afraid to sit there and make conversations with people that you may never talk to before, because you never know what blessings you are blocking by not having like these open conversations with people, even with your clients. Your clients may have connections in certain ways where they could bring you more clients or bring you a bigger opportunity. So just kind of open yourself and just build connections with people is what I would say.
Amazing words of advice from both of you. Thank you so much for sharing. And genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to both of you for coming on today and sharing your stories. I was recommended to speak to each of you, and you certainly did not disappoint. You have shown an amazing resilience, clearly, in your own lives and your own paths. And I just want to acknowledge you for the success that you have had already in a fairly short amount of time. And I wish you both continued success on your journeys. And thank you again so much for sharing with our listeners today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been amazing. What I think what today's conversation has really highlighted is that independence in this industry comes with both opportunity, but also a lot of responsibility. Because running your own suite can be incredibly rewarding, but it also means stepping into the role of a business owner, not just a service provider. And there's so much more beyond that. As we heard today, success in that environment, I think, often comes down to preparation, discipline, right? A willingness to invest in things like marketing, systems, client relationships. The truth is, there isn't just one path to success in our industry. Some professionals thrive in team environments, while others enjoy building their own independent businesses. I think what matters most is understanding what each path truly requires so that you can make the right decision for your career. If you know a stylist out there, a service provider, an esthetician, an injector who has been thinking about making a suite rental, share this episode with them so they can hear firsthand what the transition really looks like. And I'm sure they will learn a lot of incredible insights to help them on this journey. And remember, that is the scoop for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional and rate the show on Spotify or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonus.s.o.s or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.